We've made it this far, guys. December 2020. Who would have ever thought that this year would have been this crazy? And I know a lot of people have been talking about how messed up and how crazy and how fallen apart this world has got. And I wanted to take this time and kind of encourage you. And it's hard to encourage you when I myself don't feel encouraged. So I think that this video is kind of an encouragement for me and for you. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Ryan, and I am a leather crafter at Little King Goods. And 4 years ago, I started my journey in leathercraft, as many of you have probably done or thinking about doing. And back then, it was just a hobby. I did it as something to fill my time with. I was on parental leave at the time, and I needed, something to do on the side while, looking after a child. You need that escape. You need that hobby. I was already into photography, and photography at that time was kind of a side gig, a side hustle, as I was taking time away from my job as an electrician for the city of Toronto. And I needed something else. I needed something to do that wasn't photography, and that wasn't something that I was already doing. And so I decided to get into leathercraft. And the whole reason was because I needed a camera strap for my cameras. Long story short, I fell in love with leathercraft, and I wanted to pursue it more because I really enjoyed it. And back then I didn't even think about YouTube. I didn't think about filming anything. I didn't think about, putting together this YouTube channel. It was strictly just for a hobby. It was just for fun. And it quickly progressed into something that I wanted to try and take to the next level. I wanted to try and make somewhat of a side hustle or a living from it to complement my job as an electrician and photographer. As I started going online and looking at all of these different crafters on Instagram and watching all of these YouTube videos, I started to try and find my style and try and find my way, try and find a brand, some sort of a way that would set me apart. I kind of got discouraged, I'm not gonna lie. There were so many great crafters and so many people that I looked up to, but at the same time, I got discouraged because I was not there yet, and I got obsessed about it. And I got to the point where I was above and beyond trying to get better and better and better, which is not wrong by any means, but it was an unhealthy obsession to the point where I would spend, into the morning hours, like 2, 3 a.m. trying to perfect my craft. And, to some people that's fine, but to me, my personality is that I hate when I'm such a perfectionist, but that's the problem with me. I want everything to be perfect. I want my stitch lines to be perfect. I want my edges to glow. I just want everything perfect. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it is when it becomes an obsession. Anyway, fast forward, I was making a ton of things. I loved what I was doing. I was learning a bunch, but my sales just weren't reflecting the amount of passion that I put into this brand. And I was racking my brains thinking, why aren't I making a living from this? Why aren't I making more sales? Why? So I kept doing this leathercraft brand and growing it as I was on parental leave. And then I went back to working full-time as an electrician. And I just knew that what I was doing there as an electrician, I was going brain dead. It was a very comfortable job in the sense that my salary was great. I was part of a union. I was getting paid every week. I had benefits. It was just a really good job overall, but it was very physically demanding. I would work outside all year round in the blazing hot, in the freezing cold. And then I would also work night shifts. And it wasn't really fulfilling me mentally. It was very the same old all the time. I prayed to God and I said, God, if you want me to stay here in this job, I'll stay here. I'll provide for my family. I'll stay here and I'll make this work. But if there's any way out, please let me know. 3 months later, my prayer was answered. In the first week of January 2017, I was laid off from my job as an electrician for the city of Toronto. And the whole layoff thing was kind of weird because I was laid off for wrong reasons and the union was trying to get me back into that company. And I said, you know what, guys? First of all, I don't want to be working for a company where they laid me off and the union is trying to get me back in and there's going to be this tension there. And second of all, I know I am not supposed to be an electrician. My body was tired. I was just brain dead from doing that job. And I knew that this was an answered prayer. And so I said, you know what? I'm done. I'm good. My foreman was a great friend of mine. He said, Ryan, I did everything I could to keep you here. I begged them, I pleaded with them, but that's what the upper management wanted. And I said, listen, this is the best news that you could possibly give me. I shook his hand with the biggest smile, walked through the office, shook everybody's hand, and they were so dumbfounded in the sense that I was like the happiest laid off person they've ever met, because to most of them, this was their bread and butter. And for me, it was too. I mean, I was walking away from a job that was 6 figures, and I was walking into a job like Leathercraft that I was hardly making enough to pay my cell phone bills. And so that's where it began, January 2017. So as I started picking up new tools, material, different machinery, I started to wonder if this was going to be the right decision, the right path to go down. Because really, oh, here's another thing. We were living with my parents ever since I started being on parental leave. And that was a move that we chose to do so that we could save some money to buy a house near my parents at the time. We just couldn't do that in Toronto because it was way too expensive. So we decided that once I get out of parental leave and I start back as an electrician, we were gonna find a place to live near my parents. That 1 year turned into 5 years. We were living, me, my wife, and my child, were living with my parents for 5 years. And that's something that I didn't want to broadcast everywhere. And that's a sacrifice we had to take. We were very thankful, and to this day, we couldn't have done this or built this brand without them. It was tough. It was tough in that sense, knowing that I couldn't provide enough through my Leathercraft to support my family, have a house, have a car, a couple of cars now that we have 2 kids, and one on the way. So it was very, very hard, and that played a lot on my mind. Especially not bringing in hardly any income through my Leathercraft. Social media can lead you to believe that people are killing it through their media, through their Instagram, their Facebook, YouTube. People show this life that is so grand and so, I'm doing well, because nobody wants to look like a failure. I mean, I don't want to look like a failure. But at that time, during that first 3.5 years starting this brand, it was tough. It was tough. I just want to encourage you that not everything you see on Instagram is real life. And that's something that I was having a problem with, is seeing all these other brands, seemingly killing it and crushing it and just making so much profit and making so much of a big presence, that I was looking at myself and saying, you know what, like I can put all the greatest photos and videos out there, but if I'm personally not doing well with my financial, let alone my family life, my relationships with my kids, my wife, my family, if that's not going well, I mean, it doesn't mean anything. And I came to the point where I was like, honey, I'm quitting. I can't do this to us. I can't do this to my family. I don't want to be living with my parents for the rest of my life. I want to be able to provide. And I thought that, what I was doing was good and I was getting a lot of attention, but the sales just weren't coming through. And so I was ready to quit. I was ready to quit. And I told her, like I said, I'm quitting. I'm quitting. I can't do this anymore. It's keeping me up at night. My stress levels are through the roof. I can't hardly afford to pay our cell phone bills. It was tough. And I'm saying this to you because, I know I've got a big following and my YouTube channel is got a lot of subscribers, but behind all of it, there is struggle. And to this day, thank God we have our own place now. We live about 15 minutes from my parents, but to get here was a struggle. And I want to let you know that it's okay. It's okay to struggle. It's okay to struggle. We're all gonna struggle. These guys that look like they're killing it, they're struggling, especially now in a pandemic. Like, how much harder are we struggling now in a pandemic? Don't give up. But also, don't put these expectations and all of this stress on your life where it doesn't need to be. If you want to be full-time Leathercrafter one day, let it happen. Let it happen. But don't try and push to be like, oh, I gotta be full-time leathercraft. All these guys are killing it. They're having so much fun. They're making so much money. When reality is we're struggling just as much as anybody else. You know, we have our good months and we have our bad months, you know? Make hay when the sun shines. We always think the grass is greener on the other side. Always, with anything. And being full-time leathercraft is so much more stressful, trust me, than knowing that you're getting a paycheck every week at a regular job. So the story is, obviously, I didn't quit. My wife kept, you know, pushing me and encouraging me and telling me, you know what, Ryan, you've made it this far. Come on, let's just keep going. And praise God, my wife is so strong when it comes to that stuff. I said, okay, honey, let's keep going. And I said, you know, like in my video that I talked about, Born to Create with Peter McKinnon, I started a YouTube channel. And honestly, I didn't know where this YouTube thing was gonna go. I had no idea. I knew that I had a background in videography and photography, and I had no idea that one day I would have this YouTube channel that would explode my business. But we still have to work on it. I mean, that's why we make videos all the time too, is to keep people informed, to keep people engaged, to you know, connect with an audience. And I hope this message is somewhat comforting and encouraging to you that, you know, for me, it turned out to be a YouTube channel that really helped my business to thrive. Or, you know, some friendships that I've made, or branding partnerships that I've done. But I just want to encourage you that if things seem like they're not working, give it a little time. And if they're not working, don't get super bummed out if they're not working. Not everyone is going to make a full-time living in leathercraft. Do it because you enjoy it. Don't do it because you think you're gonna make a ton of money and all this stuff is gonna, you know, like look at Ryan from Little King. He's done so, you know what? It was a lot of work, a lot of burnout, a lot of stress. I've had health issues, not COVID, but over the 4 years, this stress and all this stuff, it builds up. And don't forget the real reason you are doing this. And I have to remind myself every single time of it, because I forget. Do what you were born to do. And if it's a hobby, great. If it turns into a full-time career, great. Don't get burned out. Guys, I wish you the very best, blessed Merry Christmas I possibly can. 2020 has been a very incredibly difficult year to navigate mentally, physically, emotionally, relationshiply. But I want to tell you something, guys. I'm praying for you. I know it's a tough season, but I want you to remember that. Take care of the ones you were meant to take care of. Take care of your family. Take care of your health. Take care of your relationships, because those are the things that are going to impact you and the ones around you. Anyways, guys, that's it. I know it's kind of a weird video, but it's something that's been playing on my heart for a very, very, very long time. Do not be discouraged. Don't get discouraged. I say that to myself first because I get discouraged real quick when things aren't going my way. But hey, we're all in this together. I love you. Thanks for subscribing, and thanks for coming along on this journey. And I wish you, like I said, the very best blessed Merry Christmas. All right, guys. Peace.